Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
What is going on, Fun and Games listeners? My name is Eric. I am the host of the Unlockables podcast, the story of video games, the people who play them, and the memories made along the way. I'm very, very excited to be back for another side quest episode here on the Fun and Games podcast, where I get to talk for just a few minutes about a game that I really love, a game that means so much to me. And I'd like to first thank Matt and Jeff for having me back on to do another one of these. I think this is my third or fourth. I don't know. I've done quite a few, and it's been an honor each and every time I get to do it, that they give me a platform to come on here and just share my love of certain games alongside so many other incredible creators and people that do the same thing. And I love hearing everybody's stories on the Side Quest series. So I'm here to contribute my story about another game. And this time, for my third or fourth time back, I am going to talk about my experience and my love of Destiny. Now, this is not the current iteration of Destiny that exists, Destiny 2. This is what they call Destiny Vanilla or Destiny 1 before it kind of turned into what we know it as today. Of course, for those of you that know, Destiny was the first game that was created by Bungie after they left the world of the Halo series behind. And it was a game that I was very highly anticipating because I have such a love of those Bungie Halo games. All of those games made by Bungie at the height of their powers back in the heyday, being Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Halo ODST. All of those games mean so much to me, and I think that they are so brilliant in terms of their storytelling, in terms of their gameplay, in terms of the way that they revolutionized the industry, the first-person shooter genre for console players, when that was mostly just kind of a PC thing for a while, until Halo and not too much later Call of Duty would come along and really push FPS into the mainstream on all platforms, not just PC. So at the conclusion of the 5-game Halo run that Bungie had with Microsoft that really defined the Xbox, they went away for a little while and started working on a new project. And news of their new project would surface not too much long after. It would be announced that they had partnered with Activision on a project that they were calling Destiny. And they were billing Destiny as the world's kind of first ever shared world first-person shooter game. It was, in the media at the time, it was being called an FPS MMO RPG, where it had this kind of open world shooting elements combined with level progression, combined with a shared world experience that you could organically run into other players in the world and do stuff with them. Now, when I heard that, I was immediately sold on the entire premise. I was so excited. I could not wait. I love shooters. This was like during the era of my life back in like my late teens, early 20s when I was in college, that I devoured every first and third person shooter game that I could get my hands on. And so when I had first heard of Destiny and I was doing my research about it, this was obviously a no-brainer. It was the people that made Halo, one of my favorite game series of all time. So I just knew, even before like anything really started coming out about it, that I was going to pick it up and give it a chance, because why would I not? I mean, it's Bungie after all. Their pedigree up until that point had been absolutely legendary. And I remember my first time seeing Destiny kind of out in the wild, and one of the core memories I have about the time leading up to the game was a commercial that got put out on TV, and Destiny had a pretty hefty marketing budget. So this commercial featured Giancarlo Esposito, currently at the time of Breaking Bad fame, but has gone on and done so much incredible stuff throughout his career. He was in a short 1 minute, like kind of like live action CG commercial about Destiny, where he was reading a story to his son. And while he was reading to his son, the kind of dramatized CG action that you would be experiencing in the game was kind of playing out in the background to kind of give you an idea of what the game would be about. And I just remember that commercial being so captivating, not just because Giancarlo Esposito, I would listen to him read literally anything, no matter what it is. He would could listen to his voice all day. it just captured the imagination because Bungie not only had this pedigree for creating really engaging gameplay, but their work on the Halo series had created such a rich universe that got expanded into different forms of media and books and all this stuff. So my imagination was just running wild as like imagining as like what kind of world was Bungie crafting for us to be able to like run around in and engage with different players. Like what could that possibly be? And to this day, the first Destiny game was one where I think I engaged with the community of a game the most on the internet, because in those early days, everybody was kind of figuring stuff out and kind of looking for people to like run strike missions and do campaign missions and play multiplayer with, and play in the Crucible was the multiplayer aspect of Destiny. And so I got really, really involved in the Destiny community, not just with strangers that I had met from like across the United States and across the world to play this game with, but a lot of my friends got this game as well. And it had even reconnected me with friends that I hadn't talked to in like a couple of years. And at the height of our playing Destiny 1, we were all running like multiple characters. You could run up to 3 characters of the different classes, the Hunter, the Warlock, or the Titan. And the way it worked was like all the big events like major Nightfall strikes and raids reset on like a weekly timer. So every week you want to come back and do these events so that you could get better loot and better gear. And at the peak of me playing Destiny with my friends, I had 3 maxed out characters. I was running all the events 3 times a week with each character. I was really had my nose to the grindstone trying to get all the best gear, all the best items, all the best equipment. Now, at the time, the original Destiny 1 and some of the first expansions that came out with it were kind of lacking in things to do. I mean, like, initially when the stuff came out, there was stuff to do, but like once you kind of did it, once you started getting into this kind of cyclical routine of doing all of the events every week, coming back for the weekly resets and doing all your bounties and your strike missions and doing the raids every week to get the good equipment, there wasn't really much meat left on the bone apart from doing the Crucible, which I didn't really at that time particularly enjoy playing in the Crucible, because the multiplayer PvP aspect of Destiny was just not something that I really gravitated towards. I really gravitated towards doing the PvE stuff, and the pinnacle of that stuff was the raids that they are putting out with each DLC. Vault of Glass, Crota's End were 2 things that I still have burned into my memory nearly 10 years later to this day. By the time, and the raids at the time were really, really complex for an FPS game. They had all these like intricate mechanics that required a 6-person teamwork, communicating in a group across like an Xbox Live party or across like a Discord party. And that was something, an aspect of an FPS game that I hadn't really seen before, and I don't really see now. You see more of that stuff in like online games like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy Online, but the people at Bungie managed to bring this like online MMO raid experience into an FPS game. And that was something that I just didn't really think was possible at the time. And I just have so many core memories about at least the first 4 expansions of this game up until the Taken King, which a lot of Destiny players agree that the Taken King was kind of the pinnacle of the first Destiny experience. I just remember so many incredible memories with friends and so many great moments and so many things happening in the community that you just had to be a part of at the time, because you can't experience that anymore. Like specifically, there's a weapon in the game called the Gallarhorn. It was this really overpowered rocket launcher that they sold in the shop for like the first week, and then it kind of disappeared forever and became kind of like the status symbol. The only way you could get the Gallarhorn was by doing the like hardest difficulty of the Nightfall raids or the raids in general, and hoping you got the exotic weapon drop that would be the Gallarhorn. If you go on YouTube now and search Destiny 1 Gallarhorn, you will get montages of people reacting and freaking out about getting this weapon, because that's how powerful it was. And that's how powerful having somebody with the Gallarhorn in your party was for doing things like the raids. So much so that when you were trying to coordinate raids with people, especially strangers, they're like, well, you have Gallarhorn, and you were kind of like segregated off to the side if you did not have this rocket launcher from some of the more like mean players. They were like, oh, you don't have Gallarhorn, well, we don't want you in this raid because you won't be as effective if you don't have it. And just so many of those moments are kind of burned into my head to this day. It was the first time that I experienced what would today become known as the live service game, right? And it was probably one of the first games that kind of had this like perpetual lifestyle that kind of eventually morphed into what we recognize as the live service model today. But it was my first experience with a video game that could grow and change organically with the power of the internet and with updates and with downloads, and really a game where it kept you coming back week after week after week because it would reset and you could do more things. And really, with the pinnacle of the Taken King DLC, it changed that game completely. It changed the interface. It changed the way certain things worked. It changed the way everything looked. It changed the weekly routine, if you will. And that was my first time experiencing such a drastic change to where the game continually evolved over time. And if you just missed out, like, you cannot go back and have that experience anymore. And it's led to a lot of players kind of clamoring and crying out to Bungie, saying, do like what they did with WoW Classic, release Destiny Classic, release Destiny 1 in its classic form, because that's what a lot of people grew up and love. And I personally don't play Destiny 2 anymore, but if they released a Destiny 1 Classic, I would probably hop on and reconnect some of my friends and play the absolute shit out of that, excuse my language. So yeah, this game was just an experience that lives on in my heart with friends, and I met so many incredible people because of this game, because of this world, because of this thing that Bungie made. And still to this day, Bungie is struggling, but they remain one of my favorite developers because of all the incredible stories they give me. When it comes to gameplay and gunplay, Bungie is second to none. When it comes to crafting an incredible, compelling story, this is the second time they've done it. They created an entire universe with Halo. The lore that you get and the mysteries you can solve with the Grimoire cards is so in depth that it's one of the greatest sci-fi stories ever written in our society in the last 100 years. It's so compelling. So yeah, I really love this game. I would love if they would bring it back in its classic iteration, not kind of the money-driven live service game that it kind of is now. It would be incredible just to go back to that time. And that's the nature of live service games. You know, you have to experience the hype moments while they're happening, because that game changes and grows and evolves. And it no longer is the game that it was 1, 3, 5, 10 years ago. Some live service games have been around for 10 years now. So yeah, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. I have great memories with friends, with people that I played the game with. And that's a part of what playing video games is all about. It's having an incredible experience that you can share with people. And I truly believe that. I'm running up against my time limit here. I could gush about Destiny 1 for 15 more minutes, but I got to wrap it up here. My name is Eric. With the Unlockables podcast. If you want to hear any more about some of the stuff I'm working on, please go to linktr.ee/Unlockables podcast. That's the best way to check out all my socials, do all that stuff. I'm focusing more on YouTube content right now. I just put out an hour video essay that I did on my first playthrough of Chrono Trigger for its 30-year anniversary, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of I've ever created. So please go check that out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you, Matt and Jeff, for allowing me to come back on and do another episode. I want to do one more, so let me know when I can come back on and do one more. And to all the Fun and Games listeners out there, always remember, happy gaming.
So Many Games is an independent video game website from a group of passionate people. With a team of over 10 writers doing their bit for game discoverability, you'll surely find a game that will pique your interest. Our reviews delve into the main elements of the game and how they made us feel. With unbased but fair critique and AI-free writing, we hope to offer you a safe place to find out if a game is worthy of your time. But we also write articles from Steam Next Fest catch-ups to topics of interest from the gaming world. And we also publish written interviews from developers to voice actors on our bid to shine some light on the people behind our favourite games. But that's not all, as we also offer a monthly podcast interviewing developers, artists, composers, voice actors, and anyone else we can think of to come and talk about their experiences of making their latest, or not so latest, projects in real time. With a fortnightly newsletter to go on top of our offerings, there really is something for everybody. So what are you waiting for? Get on over to somanygames.co.uk and see for yourself all the amazing content that we have waiting for you.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.